ABC, all the same to me. Oh, now I've forgotten it.
Something like ABC.
I
like to get on the beers.
It's easy.
It's easy as getting on the beers.
ABC, all the same to me.
BBC, all the same to me.
ABC, BBC, all the same to me.
That's right. There we go.
God's sake, I forgot my some stand-up
cracking
comedian
punchline. Yeah, that's true. You gotta.
I forgot my. I'm
you
like
gotta
Chris
workshop
Rock.
it, man.
I'm on stage. I'm reading notes off my palm. I'm like, ABC. Oh, what's the punchline? BBC, all the same.
Already
to me.
forgot.
That doesn't like me.
Hello, folks. Welcome to For a Laugh.
Hello.
Podcast episode 58.
Back to our normal setup. We had 2 episodes of Maria, so we're back to
in the studio, as they say.
It's nice to be back, to be fair.
It is nice to be back, isn't it? You know, I really liked our little remote Margaret River setup. I thought it was much more professional than you know it would be for a remote show.
Right.
But I am glad to be back in the studio. It's nice to be comfortable.
We had a good.
We've got
setup.
the buttons. We got it's all. I think, and you know what? I mentioned this briefly, but
what?
I have come to really appreciate what we have. You know, all the gear we have going on your podcast and seeing, looking at Jack at the Last Set podcast. I think we've got more good shit than we realized here.
Yeah, we're definitely getting into that on the show today. I've got a lot of stuff to say about all that, but
we will talk about that later. That's coming in. We want to start with
Donald J. Trump.
He is a...
What's he done now, Dan?
Well, Mr. Donald Trump, big orange man bad.
Dan. Just kidding.
I break boundaries here. I say what they don't want you to hear.
There's no producer on this show.
Orange man bad. I've broken the boundaries of fucking comedy and I have ascended. But no, so Donald Trump has basically made this announcement that's actually, it seems controversial, but it's not that controversial. He has essentially said that he will ban TikTok, the app TikTok, from the United States. Trump says TikTok app will be banned in the US over security concerns. Now, they've been talking about this for a few weeks, if not months. I don't know if you've heard, they have talked about this in Australia as well. This has been
banning TikTok in Australia? They
have talked about this, yes. The Australian government has talked about banning TikTok.
I only thought he was trying to ban it because of the whole that whole TikTok that went viral about not showing up to his rally.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, no. So that's a good story to mention.
About that though. Yeah.
So a bunch of TikTok teens basically,
it kind of went viral.
All booked, or they like fake booked tickets to his rally.
That's right.
And then like none of them showed up.
Was it a free rally? Did they have to pay for that?
Yes, it was a free. It was a free rally.
Well, that makes more sense.
And so they all signed up, and then the Trump campaign went on TV, and they were like, "We're gonna have thousands of people
sold out arena.
It's sold out. We're gonna have another show outside just to meet all the fucking demand."
Yeah.
And then when they got there, it was like half.
Yeah, they outside when they actually had to close down.
Yeah, they didn't end up doing the second outside.
And that photo of him walking away like...
Yeah, with the tie down.
The tie. That's why I thought he was trying to ban it.
I'll get that photo up, but that is me after.
I thought he was salty about... I mean, I'm sure it adds on to the reason he's doing it, but... Yeah, I thought he was salty about TikTok because of that. Because
yeah, this is the fucking photo.
Oh, and you can see his fake tan on his white collar.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What if you zoom in?
Yeah, there's a better photo there for zooming in.
Oh, okay. Which one?
Right there.
Here. Oh.
Yeah,
God. Oh, jeez.
Literally right there.
Oh, that is so... Oh, coming off on the shirt.
Yeah, on the collar.
Oh, that is so funny. But yeah, no, so that is a speculation that basically because of the
TikTok.
Because of the bad TikTok prank. No, but the actual reason that they're using to justify... Oh, look at you with the buttons. You're
I messed it up first.
Very good. The reason they're using to justify is basically it's like security concerns, basically saying that because the Chinese government, the company who owns TikTok is a Chinese company, and the way that the Chinese government works, basically, if they ever wanted to like seize China's, if they ever wanted to seize ByteDance, which is the company that owns TikTok, if they wanted to seize their data, they could just say, "Give us your data," and they would have to give it to them.
It's and as in data, you mean like the idea of it. Like you mean when you say you go on an app and you go, I give permission to be...
Yes, that's right. So your name...
Access to photos?
Well, it depends. If it says, does it want to access your photos? And you say yes.
Well, I'm sure people record stuff and...
But that being said, look, that being said, a lot of those apps ask for permission, but they don't actually look into your photos. Some do, some don't. So it's basically the security questions.
That was like last year's one.
That's right. Yeah. So the security questions that come up are just very shady about it. Right. But it's been quite controversial because obviously it's such a popular app and so many people in America, especially in America, use it. And if they ban it, like there are a lot of I'm sure you've seen some of the memes of like,
My sister's a TikToker.
yeah, but is she like an influencer?
She's pretty.
She's got some.
She's
Okay,
got some
alright,
followers.
Fair enough.
I constantly tell her, I don't mean just, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but I do think TikTok, and I say this to her, I do think 90%, no, that's too much. 75% of the time is very talentless.
Yes.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. I'm going to
but
hate me. I'm sorry.
No, but I will say
There is some really good stuff, but
I will say that I actually think that's kind of part of the.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying that. I shouldn't have said that.
I think that's part of the appeal, though. I think people like that it's not talentless, but that it's authentic. It's like real.
Yeah.
Remember, we saw that one. I don't want to show, and I remember thinking I didn't want to show because there was a kid in there, and it always gets shady when it's a kid because they might regret it later. But there was that TikTok of the girl who broke up with her boyfriend.
Oh, for God's sake.
And she was
That's so
she was like crying, and she was like, the next person who gets Devon, don't let him go. Appreciate him, because if you push him away, he won't come back.
Whatever happened to just go to therapy and not?
Well, but you know, that's part of the reason I didn't want to show it either, because can you imagine that girl when she grows up? She's going to regret that much.
I felt sorry for her, but
she's going to say, I was just a dumb kid. I shouldn't have posted that.
It was stupid. But I was like, look, just go. But the same thing I say to my sister, I'm like, she shows my mum stuff and my mum's like, oh, this is brilliant. And I'm like, I walk in, I'm like, Mum, I run a podcast and it's structured. We put so much time into it. We're constant when we're on right now.
The sheer cost of the equipment.
We're here now. We're performing.
Yes, that's right.
We're doing a performance. We have to work together, and it takes effort. And dare I say it, talent.
Look, I don't necessarily. I know you're not saying this, but I don't disrespect. I do think some of the TikTokers,
some of them are good.
It's a different art form, and there is talent to that in itself. But
we are those YouTubers, like those TikToking kids. Get off my lawn. We're like, how old? Like, you do YouTube?
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's
old.
It is one of those. It's such a strange platform. It is so like demented almost in such a way because it's so weird. But anyway, so a big part of it is, like I said, because of the privacy thing, because so many of the users are kids. That's a big thing too. A lot of them are kids. So it's not just because I think if it was a Chinese app that was stealing data from adults, maybe America wouldn't care so much. But because they're stealing or potentially stealing data from children, that's a big concern. And I think that was the same in Australia. That was the same conversation they were having. But it'd be very interesting to see. I think we should follow this.
So what? It's a bit of a child's privacy
violation. Yes, potentially. Potentially. It's like I said, there's nothing necessarily proven, but it's more that they have the possibility to do it if they wanted to.
And access children's photos?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say for sure.
Because that could be a problem.
Look, it's one of those, they probably could. I think the moment if they did, Apple would ban them. I do think they would face repercussions, but it's one of those, again, it's just the fact that they could if they wanted to.
This is, TikTok is the biggest surprise, I think, in my life. I mean, I remember when it first came out and PewDiePie was literally memeing on the idea of it, and he was just watching TikToks going, this is the dumbest thing. And it just blew up.
I'm not sure if you know this, but TikTok was Musically.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Yes.
So wasn't it music, like everyone would
Musical.ly, Musically.
Yeah.
So TikTok used to be known as Musically, and then basically it rebranded. Actually, I think the reason it rebranded was because Musically was built off of like lip syncing songs and stuff. And I think it just got copyright claimed to shit. Like
I was going to say, that sounds like a copyright strike ready to happen.
Yeah, I think the entire website was just like a copyright violation.
And no one can show them on YouTube and get exposure.
Exactly. So I think they rebranded the site to be TikTok. And I think probably they did that so that there wasn't such a copyright disaster on their hands. But TikTok has been around for like a while, but it's such a strange platform. It's so bizarre.
It's like it's a new Vine. It's a new Vine,
It is the new Vine, but it's also Vine. There was a lot of people on Vine were adults. TikTok, a lot of the big stars are kids. Do you know the queen of TikTok, so to speak? That's what they call her.
What's her name again? It's
Charlie D'Amelio or something, or D'Angelo or something.
Yeah.
She is like 16. She is like not older. She rose to fame when she was 15. It is insane.
I think it's because she did all those,
all the dances.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying. I'm not going to try and rip into a girl who's 16 who.
No.
When we were 15 and 16, we were doing dumb shit as well.
And you know what? If I found
We were
fame,
trying to steal our dad's beer at 15 or 16. Like,
if I found fame from anything I was doing online at the age of 15, 16, I would ride that wave till kingdom come, you know, but it's definitely it's an interesting
that's a scary
situation.
thing, you know, and I even said yesterday in therapy, like, for once in my life, I feel like the podcast is finally getting views you know what I mean? But like, you know, that is almost scaring me a little bit. Cause I'm like, actually, I remember when
Are we
used to do
even
the
ready
show.
for this?
No, but like, you know, we used to do the show and I was like, no one's watching. Now it's like, actually, people are starting to watch, and it's like, I need to be careful what I say. And it's like, actually, am I saying this right? Imagine if you're 16, 15 and you just
100%. Can you imagine how many mistakes we made? I mean, we're only 21. Like, we probably still have tons of mistakes to make.
No, and literally.
But at that age, how many mistakes we did make? Oh boy.
But it's all publicized now, and that's the issue. And all these people on TikTok are
you can't take it back.
And like,
you can't take it back. It's all there. It's always there.
Yeah. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah. Sorry. Flipping my phone over so I don't see that again.
Right.
But yeah, I totally agree. And it's like, you know, it's not a thing that anyone can fathom. I feel like once you even start to get a little bit, I mean, even we had this week, I woke up on Friday or Thursday and Aiden sent me a screenshot of a guy who watches my other show, and it's so flattering, but it's also kind of like, shit.
Yeah, we actually have
People
someone.
watch.
Yeah, it is
People
interesting. It's
watch.
interesting because I think, and it's funny because I do think a lot of creators do put things out purely with the thought of, I hope someone sees this. I want this to be consumed. But I think because we've had a relatively small amount of like audience for so long, we've become content with putting things out for the sake of the art, you know, for the sake of what we're producing, rather than for the sake of the audience response.
Yeah.
And I think once, if ever, we start to get a large audience response,
I feel like it's growing.
that will be it is growing. But I mean, can you think about if we get tens of thousands of views and even if that translates to like 20 comments a week, I mean, that would feel like a lot.
Imagine if someone comments to you, Dan, you suck. Would hurt me.
Like that's, and
this man thinks I suck.
It's
and he's right. I do.
It's hard because, you know, we're not used to that like big audience reaction. I think that will be something that's interesting for us to experience because we've become so, and I think we approach it in a good way. I think it's good to approach content through the lens of like, what are we creating? Not what will the response be? I think that's a better way to look at it.
We make it for the audience, and we start getting an audience, and we're like, there's an audience? Wait,
yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah.
They're actually engaging.
That's
it's
right.
Weird. Like in the last month, we've had like 3 people. Yeah, I mean, I've had like 3 people, 2 for my other show and 1 for this show. And it's kind of scary, but it's also nice. And it's like the views are slowly going up for our show. And it's like shit, like this is actually, I was at work and I was like, this is actually kind of nice because I actually kind of feel like it's actually maybe going somewhere, which is nice.
It feels like, as much as I did say before, we do it for the content and we do it for to produce the show
and the love of the show. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, for the love of the show. But it does, getting views and getting some kind of recognition does then make it feel like, okay, maybe it's worth it. Like this is translating into something that's actually.
Well, I think we deserve it. We went through years of just getting 2 views, and I was probably just you and me checking to see if there's any likes or comments.
Yeah, that's
so.
Right.
I mean, I think we deserve it, to be honest with you.
But I think, and I've said this before, I think we've tinkered with it in public. We've slowly played with it and seen what works and what doesn't work, just for the way we judge it. And you know what? As we get an audience, that will just continue because we'll see what is the audience like, what is the audience not like. So like
we've told every living soul we have a podcast. Well, I have at least.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we've tailored the show to what we think is a good show.
Yeah.
What do you disagree with?
No, sorry. I hear that, but I don't disagree with anything you say. It says Conor.
No, but I'm saying we tailor the show to like what we think is a good show. But once we get a bigger audience, then we'll also be tailoring it to what the audience response is. And then it's like we have so much growth to make, but I'm very happy with the growth that we've had up to this point because I think it's really changed the show for the better.
And this sounds cheesy and it will probably, I say it backfire, but for the first time in ages, I've literally this week felt like, holy shit, maybe I can make a living off art.
Definitely.
Almost,
definitely.
again, this is so lame. We're we're talking about 70 views. But that's so much for us. We had like 3 or 4.
Well, especially because, you know, we used to get sort of whatever, like 30, 40 views when it was going on your channel. But that was like an established channel. This is getting views for the podcast just on the podcast channel with nothing else. No outside promotion, no paid promotion, nothing. It's just and that is, that's amazing to see. And to see potentially that snowball and that get bigger, I think that's great. And I can't wait for that, you know?
I mean, I won't get into our reasons of how it happened, but you had a really good change of concept for the structure of our show. And I think that really helped us.
Definitely.
I won't say what it is because that's kind of our thing, but I think.
No, I agree.
And that was a month ago you said that. Imagine in 3 months.
I know. And but I also think it's a change in philosophy. I think the way that we're looking at the show, I think the way we're treating it. And I do think we briefly had a talk behind the scenes about like looking at it as more of a, like this is a business that we're trying to grow. And I think, totally. And I love that. And I think that was
a harsh day, but it had to be.
I think
those conversations have to be had.
Exactly. If you ever wanted to be successful, you have to have it. And I think we've managed to properly balance looking at this in the right way we need to look at it with being able to still enjoy it and still find joy from it.
I feel like sadly, as much as I really love those episodes of Film in Mark River, actually no, the last one did pretty well, but the last Mark River special we did like last year.
Yeah.
I can see the views drop in there.
Well, the first one we did, we have the 12 pints in the title and the thumbnail. That I feel like could be a bit of a draw. Because I mean, 12 pints.
It's also a huge.
12 pints is a big claim. That's not a lot of people don't do 12 pints. So.
Again, but 14.
That's right, 14 for us, baby.
But I also think the hidden gem in that episode is the mental health talk for men.
Definitely, and that's actually I need to put that in the tags as well because that.
Because I feel like that was really. And I said we have a client at the moment and she's really nice and she was asking me about my show and stuff and. I was saying, like, you know, one of the things I'm proudest of about the show is that we talk about mental health. And I respect the hell out of Mitch for being as honest as he was on the show. I mean,
definitely.
I remember at some point I was like, are you okay to talk about this? Because when the cameras are rolling, it's very easy just to talk. And you finish the show and you're like, hang on a minute, should I have said that? But it was very open. I don't know what I want to call the second show. Totally honest with you. Don't really remember it. We went over it a bit.
Well, let's get to the Margaret River shows a bit later.
Of course. We're getting into that. Sorry, everyone. I'm skipping ahead of schedule.
No, that's okay. I just thought we could condense that into more of
a. This is how easy you get off schedule.
I know. Look at us. We flow so well. But what we wanted to talk about also just regarding, because we did go to Margaret River this weekend, and I think that one thing and I kept saying it while we were there, but I'm so grateful that we can even just travel.
Very blessed.
Within, I know it's not, you know, us traveling to Margaret River is like what, 5-hour drive?
No, it's about 3.5.
Okay, 3.5. But it's still like a big road trip. And that's obviously travel within our state. But the fact that we can travel, and not just travel, but when we get there, we can go to pubs, we can go out. That is such an amazing thing in today's world of COVID and COVID restrictions.
One can do, and I mean that even in Australia, like next to no one can do.
Exactly. In other states in Australia, that's almost no one can do that. Around the world, almost no one can do that. Like we are literally some of the luckiest people in the world.
Poor Victoria.
Victoria is bitter.
Sad, but
that's what Victoria be right now.
Out of context for our laugh.
Victoria bitter.
It really is sad though, because Victoria is suffering hugely.
Victoria is the worst right now in Australia.
There's just every day it's like 300 cases, this case, and
I feel very bad. They've made masks mandatory now in Victoria,
which is good.
Which I think is a good thing. Yep. I think that I've heard I've heard that masks help a lot, so I'm glad that they've made that mandatory.
Are they in total lockdown?
I don't know for sure. I feel like they would be in the same kind of lockdown that we were in before we went into like full lockdown, you know, where the pubs have like massive restrictions. But that's what I'm saying. I'm sure some of them are working and all that sort of stuff.
That's what I didn't get. And we were lucky that it didn't go worse. I mean, I remember I was at
I say full lockdown, but we weren't even in full lockdown, were we? We were in like a...
That's what annoyed me. It was like, you can't go see your mates, but I can go to TAFE or work. It's like, hang on a minute. What do you mean? Like,
what's the difference?
So I can go to TAFE and see guys that I don't know, but I can't go see my best mate.
It was kind of like... and this is where I guess the economic question comes in. They were like, health-wise, we know it's not okay to see people, but because it's important for the economy for you to still go to TAFE and you still go to work. It was like
as long as you're making money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like you're fueling the business and stuff. But it is scary what's happened in Victoria, and it can very easily change in Perth.
Very, very easily it could come here.
Which is scary because we've come so far, I think. Like we've come so far.
And just if the audience doesn't know, so Perth has been, and if you don't know, you should look this up because it's quite amazing. Perth has been, in my opinion, I don't know every country's response, but I would say it's been one of the best responses globally.
I'd argue it's true.
And look, I'm not talking all of Australia because there are probably countries where the entire country has dealt with it better than the country of Australia, because obviously we have the Victoria problem. But Perth as like a city, as a WA as a state, we've dealt with it fantastically. We had for a while, I know we traveled to Margaret River, but for a while there were Perth as a state, because Perth's a very big landmass. It was divided into 7 different like sub-states.
Well, yeah, WA is huge. Like Western Australia is the biggest. Like
it's a massive. That's what I mean. Like landmass wise, it's massive. It doesn't have that many people.
It's almost half the continent.
It is.
It's
it literally
pretty much
is.
a line down. Yeah.
West Australia is probably literally the size of half of America.
Yeah.
Just for comparison's sake.
Beautiful to travel.
Amazing state. Personally, I think one of the best states.
It gets so much shit, and look at us now.
Amazing state.
We are like.
Yeah, we are.
Look at us now. Like
this is us.
Our context for a lot. Like everyone shits on Perth, but look at us now.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the thing. So we had our premiere, Mark McGowan. Which
hey,
is like
Mark!
Woo! We love Mark. Yeah, baby. Go Mark. We love you.
Mark on the For Life podcast.
I stand with Mark McGowan.
Yeah, literally. I stand, mate. Cheers. We have to.
I stand with Mark McGowan.
There you go.
Fantastic.
We're going to get Mark on the show.
He's rode us to victory. He really has.
He has. You can't deny it.
And, other states, like I said, Victoria, New South Wales, they haven't done as well. And unfortunately, it's just been not as good over there. But WA, what we did, we were very, very cautious. He was, from the start, he was good with like not letting people in, but being very cautious about letting people in, who you let in, how much you screen them and test them and all that sort of stuff. That was very on top of things. He shut things down in... I've talked about, I don't know if I've talked about here, but I've talked about to friends, the difference between being strict and being effective. And I think Mark struck the perfect line down the middle of being somewhat strict in the right ways, but effective in the right ways as well. So like Victoria, I think it was either Victoria or New South Wales was a good example. A while ago, they made it like they were having fines for all sorts of random things. And it was very, very strict, but it wasn't clear how those fines and how that strictness was effective at fighting the virus, right?
Yeah.
And then they also opened up their restrictions to allowing 50 people at a gathering very early, much before we allowed it. We had a much slower reopening as well.
Well, it was one person at one point.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
At one point, we had the restriction of like, you could only see one person apart from your family in your household. And
I feel like we did pretty well with that.
We were pretty, I didn't hear much about that being violated in WA. I'm sure there was. I'm sure there was violations. Don't get me wrong.
That's about it,
But I'm definitely certain that WA did very well. We had the right restrictions. I think we opened them slowly enough.
Here's the thing, people are bagging on Mark and saying like he had an easy job with WA. No, he just did it well. And that's why it went great.
I would wager, and we were talking about this before, no one would want to be an elected official during coronavirus. It wouldn't be easy for anyone in the world. So I do genuinely try to give any elected official the benefit of the doubt, because coronavirus is just the most horrible thing. But that being said, we are a few months into it, and I do think now it's okay to start saying you had this information. There are other people who have dealt with it very well, like our Premier Mark McGowan. If you have not been able to get a lid on it, or at least you're not going in the right direction, I'm sorry, but you deserve some backlash, because
look,
there are examples of what to do, and you need to be working towards that at the very least.
I
disagree
a little bit. I agree with your first statement. It's very difficult to be anything right now in a high position. And look, everyone's giving shit to Dan Andrews.
Yeah.
Get
on the beers. We need that as
we do. Get on the beers. And we are a very laddies show, and we do mean on him, but look, he had to worry about the fires, and then
of course.
And now it's this, and all the cases every day, man. I mean, just from a mental state, can you imagine how bad he's feeling right now?
Oh,
I would be surprised if he didn't cry every night. I would I would cry.
It would be horrible.
Night.
It would be horrible.
You got to feel for him a little bit. I understand it's his job, and
and remember,
could have done a better job. But you know,
if we flash back to months ago, you know, when Boris had to shut things down and all this stuff, I empathize with him as well, because he even said in his press conference, he was like, you know, I don't want to do this. I don't want to shut everything down. No politician does. Yeah,
Take you back. Sorry, that was so late.
No, but way back, you know, a lot of politicians said they don't want to shut things down. I fully empathize with that. And I also feel with New South Wales right now, because Gladys, the premier over there, she is a bit of a meme, but she rightfully, I understand why she doesn't want to lock things down, because things are getting worse, but you don't want to put people back in lockdown. Can you imagine if we went back into lockdown? That would suck ass. Like,
well, I was saying it down today. If stuff does start to go bad, it will be, that's Christmas gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my birthday gone. You got so lucky. You twat.
Oh my God. You know, my birthday party, I was telling a coworker.
It was like the bridge of it.
My birthday party happened on, I think it was the 14th of March, which was a Saturday.
It was about a week later.
It was the 14th of March. I had my birthday party. On the 17th, I think, which was the Monday. Oh, sorry. No, it was the 17th was the Tuesday. The 15th and the 16th. The 16th was my birthday. Kath had booked us a place at the Crown Casino.
That's right, yeah.
So we went to the Crown Casino, had a great one. And I remember that time when I was in the Crown Casino, every morning I would check my phone. I'd be like, Kath, I think this coronavirus thing is getting serious. The Tuesday was March 17th. That was St. Patrick's Day. We went to the pub.
Yes, that was
St. Patrick's Day.
That was dodgy.
That weekend.
It closed.
Was the last weekend pubs were
Well, that
open.
was our last
that
night
weekend, on the Sunday, I think it was, we went to our local, I was about to say it, Moe's, and we had a quiet beer. There was almost no one there.
It was Saturday, but
sorry, the Saturday.
Yeah.
And then literally from then on, pubs were closed.
Yeah,
my birthday party, which I said was on the 14th, was supposed to be on the 28th of March.
I feel like we went out with a bang with St. Paddy's Day.
Oh, the party, St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah,
we did have
a go at a bang.
Yeah.
I mean, but I remember when I went out, my whole family were like, "Don't do it. This coronavirus." And I admit, I was a bit like, "Ha, coronavirus.
Corona who?
That will never be a thing." And there was someone at the pub a couple of days prior who'd had the coronavirus. And I remember I found out, and they wanted me to get a test.
Yeah,
I didn't. We were fine.
We were fine.
But to be fair, at that point,
you weren't really going in much places at that point.
Well, I think I was at TAFE. Yeah, I was at TAFE.
You TAFE that week?
I had TAFE next day.
Conor could have been a super
hungover.
spreader.
I was so hungover. Remember that? I was awful. But yeah, I mean, I'd gone, and there was a woman there on the Saturday who had coronavirus, and we were there on the Tuesday.
No. She didn't have it. She had it.
No, she had it.
She had it when she was there? Are you sure?
Mm-hmm. She was a nurse. She'd left the hospital and gone for a fucking drink with her boys.
Oh, no. Was it? I think it was, she tested positive for it a few days later and she had been there.
No, she didn't know. She didn't know, but then she.
No, but what I'm saying is she might not have had it at the. I'm not trying to.
Regardless, they suggested everyone who was there on St. Patrick's Day to get a test, and
did they really?
We didn't. Yeah, they said on the news. They said it was on the news. They said she went here, here, and here, and if you were there on St. Patrick's Day, get a test and
get on the biz.
I mean, I didn't have a test per se, but when I went because of my heart issues, I went to the hospital during COVID, and I had to get several things done. Like I checked my temperature, but something in my ear really hurt. They were like digging in, and I was like, "The fuck?" They were like trying to take my temperature and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, but you know, I haven't had a full on test." But
yeah, no, look, honestly, I am so glad that we're through that fucking dumpster fire.
If we're not
so lucky that we don't have that here.
If we're not careful, there is a horrible man called Clive Palmer who wants to open our borders, and without that, we'll be fine. But you know, he wants to. Yeah, honestly, everyone here hates him. There was a poll saying open the borders. It was 94% no, 6% yes.
Yeah, West Australians do not like Clive Palmer.
He wants to open it. You know why he wants to open it up? A bit of Bunsen.
The money.
A bit of Bunsen. A Bunsen burner. This disgusting man, who, by the way, is a billionaire. Do you need more money, just quietly?
Literally a fucking billionaire.
Do you need more money?
And you know what? It's
money.
If he wanted to open it and be like, every profit I make from opening up, I'll put into a fund. No, he just wants to make his own fucking money.
You're so generous, Clive. I'm so glad you're willing to risk literally hundreds of million lives, you know? I'm so glad you want to risk lives.
It's ridiculous. Like,
Disgusting.
it's so basically,
horrible
Clive,
person.
because
Horrible person.
so Clive Palmer, he's a billionaire. He's not a miner, but he owns mines and stuff in Western Australia, but he's based in the eastern states.
Hence why he got so rich. Obviously, there's a huge gold mine.
Exactly.
No pun intended.
Literally a gold mine or a fucking iron mine. But he really wants to open up the borders because he wants people to be able to come over and work at the mines and work at his mine specifically so he can get money. And he's challenging in court. So the legal side of it is that in court, he's challenging, I think based on the Australian Constitution, whether it's constitutionally allowed for Mark McGowan to close the borders, because I think his argument is that, and it's the stupidest argument because logically it doesn't even like make sense, but this is what I understand the argument to be. What I think he's saying is that because there's no health threat within Western Australia, there's no point to close the borders, if that makes sense.
Until you open the borders and it becomes a health threat.
Exactly. The entire point of the borders being closed is so that...
To prevent
a health threat. Exactly. So I think that like, it's sort of nonsensical to me, but he's kind of using like a constitutional argument of like, you can't close the borders unless there's a legitimate national emergency or whatever,
Mark is firing back. I mean, have you seen
Mark is great.
seen those news segments? He's like... I've got to say,
what do you call it? Sort of enemy of the state.
Stop being a jerk. Yeah, he said stop being enemy of the state. You know, he literally said, this made me laugh. He's like, if Clive Palmer does get the coronavirus, he is old and he will die.
Yeah. He was like, he's in a high risk category. Yeah, he will probably die.
Literally. Dude, I like how Mark's like, I have this to say about Clive Palmer. Stop being a jerk. I like how you can't swear on news.
Yeah, I know.
I literally said to my family, like, could you imagine what he's saying behind the scenes?
Yeah, literally.
On the news, he's like, stop being a jerk.
You are a meanie.
He is an enemy of the state.
You know what he is? And you know what? I follow Clive Palmer. I've actually followed him for a long time just because, you know, he's a big figure and I want to know what he's saying.
He was big in the election.
And So I followed him for a while just to see what he has to say on things. And every post, he's made a few posts the last few days about like my message to Western Australians. Every single post, it's massive angry reacts, and every comment is like hashtag I stand with Mark McGowan, which is the hashtag.
We do stand with Mark McGowan.
And I went through every single post on one of his posts said I stand with Mark McGowan, and then there was like one comment that said one comment was like, oh, King McGowan is gonna try and blah blah, and I was like, bro, you're trying to like compare him to a king. Like
Clive has like a name for McGowan. I don't know what it is, but it's like it's one of those classic, like, you know, Parliament.
Oh, nasty
jokes.
Nicknames, yeah.
Yeah, like it's like Nasty McGowan or something. It's like Mimicking McGowan or something. Like, yeah, it's a classic, like, this liar is like, residents of WA, he is lying. Like, it's a classic, like, trying to make it.
It's so silly.
No one likes this guy. He's trying to, everyone's going to get sick. People are going to die.
Oh, whoops.
It's serious. Like, do not open the borders.
Do not get on the beers.
Yeah, we need to stay on the beers and do not
exactly. Because if they do it, then we can't get on the beers.
Do not get off the beers.
Let me find a photo just for context of this story of what Clive Palmer.
He's just a disgusting man. I hate it.
Do we have? Here we go. So if we go there,
United Australia.
So
Party.
this is fucking Clive right here. This big old fella.
He's the classic Trump of WA.
He actually wants to be Trump because he has this whole
make Australia
and
great
this is Mark McGowan. This is our premiere.
Yeah, so, Mark, come on, boy. Good
I love
Marky.
Mark. You know what's funny?
Mark killed it, man.
Earlier on in the Corona,
how good is it to be a West Australian?
It really is, and you know, Mark was only elected, I think, at the beginning of, or maybe it was 2018, but it was either
ages, man.
Actually, it might have been 2017. He might have been premier for a few years.
I think ever since we left school, I've remembered him being like.
But with that being said, I saw a article from the election when he was being elected, and since 2017. So he has been premier for a few years. During the election, there was an article. No, 2017. Sorry.
17. Jeez.
During the election, when he was running to become premier, there was some sort of quote in some article or something, and it basically, literally, the line was like, "If there's a national emergency, or if there's do we really want Mark McGowan at the lead or something like that? And someone posted it and they were like,
do.
you know what? We do.
Honestly, he's
we were very lucky to have him.
God forbid whoever goes against him in the future for an election.
Oh, he's going to win in a landslide.
He will win in a landslide. I've never met anyone who doesn't like him.
And you know what? That is the weirdest thing. I have never, and obviously I'm a young guy, you know, I don't have
like a politician.
I don't have history experience,
Yeah.
but in my years, I've never heard of a politician who is unanimously liked.
Yeah, everyone likes him. Yeah.
Every person I've spoken to,
94% people said.
every person I've spoke to in WA
him,
has nothing but good things to say about Mark McGowan.
Everyone wants to get beer with him. Everyone just want to chill out with him.
How bizarre is that for a politician?
Yeah.
Politicians are never liked by everyone.
It does seem it seems very selfless. It doesn't seem like a
Yes, that's
doesn't
right.
seem like a campaign or about
Exactly.
me.
It does not seem.
If he was slimy, it's like, and look what I've done. He seems very selfless.
It doesn't seem
that's what I
cynical.
like.
It doesn't seem cynical. It doesn't seem like he's doing it just to get votes
I mean,
next
there are
election.
no such thing as elections for Australia. Like in a way, it's like, you know, we're all just together. Like, you know, we can't really.
Well,
deal with
our
this
elections are a lot shorter than like American elections, for example, and also they're less in the news. You know, it's a less nasty thing.
I just feel like we got what we got, and we're dealing with it.
We're lucky.
Who you are,
we're
what
lucky
you're
that
doing,
this
we're together. You know.
We're lucky that this whole thing didn't happen during an election or anything. And that's, again, what I think you're saying is that it really doesn't feel like it's some kind of political play.
No, yeah. It doesn't matter about who's who. Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Like, if it was a political play, fucking Dan Andrews and Gladys would have done the same thing. But they didn't.
No.
He just did it because, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe purely it was just luck. But there has to be something about the strategy or what he was doing.
I do feel sorry for him. Did you hear about
I just don't see how he did so much better than they did. Like,
he said he's even. I mean, imagine I know we're saying everyone likes him, but he said he was getting a lot of flack. Like, people were showing up to his house, like
I'm sure they were.
And like,
well, you think about it,
to keep the borders closed.
Everyone who was happy wouldn't harass him. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you know Mark McGowan? Yeah. People who are happy are not going to show up to his house and say, "We love you, Mark." You know, like.
I really saw him. He's like, you know, he's like, my wife and children are in that house, and I'm like, bro, like that's tough. Like,
it is hard. It is very, very
hard. It's like
hard.
the YouTube celebrity, like, you know, they're just human.
So what? They were showing up to say what? To keep
apparently
the borders closed?
I think this was when they were open still.
I see. Okay.
And they were just. I mean, if you want to get your point heard, do not throw a brick at someone's house. That doesn't help.
Legit. No, it does
Ladies
not
and
at all.
gentlemen, that does not get your point across. I just feel sorry for him. He's got a wife and kids,
doesn't.
you know. I mean, this man is a human being.
No, he is.
And he is standing up for Australia and WA. And I just think it's amazing what he's done.
You know, I don't want to get predictive here, but I've heard a lot of. I'm sure this conversation is not happening in the eastern states, but over here, I've heard a lot of people say that they would hit him up for PM. They would fucking not have any problem with him being our prime minister.
I have seen hashtag him up for PM.
And you know what? Normally I would say, yep, the eastern staters, they don't like West Australians, so he doesn't have much of a chance. But I'm seeing here, he was actually born in, I think he was born in Queensland, but he studied in New South Wales. He was educated in New South Wales and he studied in the University of Queensland. So he has a bit of a, you know, universal Australian experience. So,
well, I said to Dan, this is such a stab in the dark and it's never going to happen. But I said to Dan, I would love to have Mark on the show.
Oh, Mark would be the greatest.
Maybe we
guest.
should clip this and send it to his PR team. I doubt they'd ever say yes. And he's probably, not even probably, he is a very busy man. But I feel like, I said to my mum, I said, we're going to try and get him on. And she laughed. I said, look, you know, we are the voice of the youth.
Of course we are.
Laughs at my point. He's like, you're like the guy who's supposed to be like, yes, we are. But you're like,
no, we are we are youth and we have a voice.
We have a podcast with the voice of the youth.
I just don't know how many of the youth would think we are their voices.
I walk down the street and they're like, is that the voice of the youth? And I go, yeah, it's me, Conor. How you going?
We strut down the city streets and they go, our voice, they're here.
It's the youth. The voice of the youth. And I'm like, yeah. I'm just saying, I reckon Mark should come on the show. I reckon he'd enjoy it.
I'd love to have Mark on the show.
I know we drink beers and
I'd love to get Mark on the beers, you know, that would be great. No, if Mark came on, I would ask, I would think, and you know, I did say this to you, I think before we have bigger people on, we should do more interviews because we've only done a few interviews with people and it's all been our friends. I would love to have more guests on. But if Mark came on, I would ask him all sorts of legitimate questions. You know, I mean, we would obviously get on the beers. I'd ask him a few.
I don't know if we could.
Oh yeah, we'd have to ask the PR. We'd be saying,
I reckon they'd say no.
Maybe that's part of the PR image. We'd say, if Mark wants the youth vote, he needs to get on this show and get on the beers.
We rock up and like, are there any beers? And we're like, well, no, we thought we'd do a sober show. Like, where are the beers?
Yeah, it's like my only PR point of the show.
We have to get WA beer if he comes.
Exactly. We can't be having this Byron Bay.
It's single fin.
Actually, we are looking at we are being Australian made right today because we're doing.
I feel sorry for Victoria.
I'm on the Byron Bay beer. Connor's got the Victoria.
Context for a laugh. What's it? It's single fin.
What is this?
It's single fin. A WA beer.
I think it might be. I'll check now. But Swan Draft is a WA beer. So
there you go. We'll bring some Swan on. Mark will be like, how can I say no?
Yeah, you can't deny Swan Draft. Swanee D.
I say shoot for the stars. Oh, it's from
Wait,
Bali?
what?
Nah.
Is Single Finner? No.
No, from Bali.
Single Fin is not a foreign beer.
They sell it off the stadium.
It must be. I don't know.
We have to hit Mark up regardless. He'll come on the show at some point.
No, he has to. One day we'll get big enough and they'll be asking us. Can Mark come on the show? He wants to share his new policy platform.
I just think there'll be
as long as we can have a beer.
Could you imagine the behind the scenes photos? Like,
yeah, we need to start doing that with our guests. And
I know.
Yeah.
We need to. But
I do love that. But
we can ramble. It's been 40 minutes.
I know. Let's get on to the next topic. So,
next topic?
Well, I recently, speaking of guesting on podcasts and having guests, there's been a whole lot of talk recently. I think more than we normally talk about guests and all that stuff, about having guests on and us going on other podcasts. And recently I had the privilege of going on to one of Connor's other podcasts with Aiden, a good friend of our show, Greeny Productions, Aiden Green. Go check him out. If you're a fan of this show, you'll love his content, I hope. And he does a podcast with you, Connor, called the 50% podcast.
Doctor Who podcast, yep.
The 50% podcast. The 50%
Doctor Who podcast.
Okay,
yes.
Gotcha. So that show, if the title doesn't make it clear, is about Doctor Who. It's a Doctor Who centered podcast.
Yeah, reviewing Rose all the way up to the Time as Children. So we're reviewing every episode. I actually finished series 1 last night watching it, but we're
by the way, Single Fin is a WA beer. I know that was. Sorry, I don't know why it came out with barley.
I don't see why they would
weird
pour it in off the stadium.
Sorry, carry on.
But we're doing Rose up to Time as Children. To be fair, though, we're not going to hit Time as Children by the time the latest episode comes out.
Is it Timeless Child or what's the episode called?
Timeless? No, I think it's Time as Children.
Oh, okay.
Either way, it sucks. But who cares what it's called? No, but by the time we won't get there in time. By the time
I was thinking about it. How many episodes of Doctor Who there are? There like 150 at least.
Yeah.
Maybe?
So next week
we're talking about the new era of Doctor Who.
Next week we on Monday. Normally we film Thursdays, but Aiden's busy doing shit. We're gonna film on Monday. We're gonna review the series final, series 1. So I finished series 1 last night.
If you do one episode a week,
rewatching it, obviously I've watched it years ago. But yeah,
if you do one episode a week, that'll take you about 3 years to get through.
About that, yeah. Well, we do 2 pilots in one go.
Okay.
So just to save us time and
so yeah, sense, 2.5.
And we talk about it all in one episode.
Are you guys gonna do breaks between seasons?
I don't know. I mean, I also want to review Torchwood and Sarah Jane Adventures.
Well,
on
there
the
you
channel.
go. Then it gets. I think you should because that gives the podcast a couple of years.
I rewatched a Torchwood episode today just out of the blue. I had nothing else to watch. I was like, I'll watch the Torchwood.
Well, you're in no rush.
Really good.
You're in no rush to get this podcast to the current episodes.
That's what I kind of like. I'm not in a rush to finish it because once we're caught up, it's like, well, shit, we've got nothing to review unless a new season comes out. Which
maybe then you start the classics.
Oh God. But I've watched up to series 3 of Sarah Jane Adventures. I haven't watched all of that. I've watched all of Torchwood. I watched the Torchwood episode today just out of the blue and it's got its bad episodes, but believe me, there's so many good episodes of Torchwood. Did I send you that screenshot today of the Vote Saxon sign in Torchwood?
Yeah, Vote Saxon.
There's little stuff like that because I don't know if you know.
You did send me that, yeah.
Torchwood series 1 ends and then that's when you watch Utopia.
I see. Okay. Yeah.
So it ends with Jack running to the TARDIS, going Doctor.
So
when that,
what would you call that? A tie-in.
Brilliant. When series 1 of Torchwood ends, the little hand, he has the Doctor's hand in the Torchwood hub, and it starts to make motion, that's when he knows the doctor's landed in Cardiff. Because the episode we watched, Boomtown, makes the rift, and he goes to refill the TARDIS in the rift. You know,
You blow my mind.
all right, I won't say that.
Sorry,
Clearly I'm boring.
I
you.
wasn't trying to. I was trying to be legit. I was
It's very
trying to engage.
interesting.
I am.
I know how much you like the show, so
I am engaged. No, that wasn't a
it's hard
joke.
to deal with, folks.
That wasn't a joke. I was trying to be serious.
Well, look, the episode we watched, Boomtown. Okay, the rift obviously rips open. Okay,
yes.
all right, which was started by the Gelf in series 1, episode 3.
Gotcha.
Okay, Boomtown opens up. That's why Torch would exist,
Mhm.
so they can stop stuff from coming through the rift.
Yes.
But that's where the Doctor refuels the TARDIS. So at the end of Torture Series 1, the Doctor lands in Utopia,
Okay.
which is technically Series 3, episode 10 episode 10 or 11 of Series 3 of Doctor Who. He lands, the Series 1 of Tortured ends, and then when that ends, it goes straight into Utopia, which is really cool. And that's why there's votes and accent signs on the episode I watched today.
Got it.
Because it's like the second last episode of Series 1. So it's like slowly leading into Utopia, and obviously Saxon's in the UK and stuff. And it's really cool. If you watch it in order, it's pretty sick. And
Love it. Are you going to watch it in order on the show?
probably not. Probably not. Just because we're
So you
trying
do,
to
like,
build
one
an
season
audience.
at a time
And,
of
we're
everything,
trying to
yeah.
build an audience, and like I
Of
don't
course,
want
yeah.
to distract them too much. And you need to watch Torture, by the way.
I would
'cause
say
it's
to do it
like-
one season at a time. So do season 2 Doctor Who, then do season 1 Torchwood,
Yeah.
and then that's just my suggestion. But
I would like to do that.
Obviously, it's your guys'
but,
show.
You know, I would like to do that, but
I mean, again, I would say you guys are in no rush. There's,
no, yeah, you know, I dread watching Miracle Day again. I think Miracle Day sucks. It's terrible. But apart from that, I think 1 and 2 and Children of Earth is solid TV. Again, it's not great, but it's well, you got to watch it. So,
But let's just take specifically what we had here. So I actually went on the show.
You did, yeah.
And this was an episode late in season 1. I've watched all the Doctor Who as well, so I am a fan. As much as my facial expressions in the last 5 minutes might.
well, we
speak
rewatched it
otherwise.
in Night River together, which was really nice.
Yeah, we did, and that was actually nice. It was a
That was
nice
really
experience. I enjoyed that, and it was one of those episodes that was really nice and wasn't great, but it was a perfect example of what the show is, and what kind of show it is, if that makes sense. So it was one of the perfect episodes to rewatch because it was such a perfect crystallization of the exact kind of show that you're watching, and we had fun on the show. We really had fun on the.
How did you find the show?
I enjoyed it.
Uh-oh.
No, I did enjoy it. Obviously, it was a bit weird doing the remote show. That's just because I'm so used to doing in-person
What,
shows.
through the
the Skype
webcam?
or
Yeah,
the
that's not
Facebook
great.
video or
Because there's
whatever.
always so much lag, and it's like...
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm obviously I understand why you guys can't do the in-person show because you don't really have a studio.
That's not me. I would happily do it in person. We did it in person before.
Yeah, true.
That's not me, but okay. That's Hayden. I wanted to do... We did it in person before.
No comment.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about the. That's all I'll say about that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
It was interesting during the remote show. That's all I'll say about that. It was different from what I'm used to, but I got used to it. And obviously there were some funny times where the lag kind of made it a bit awkward
Oh, God.
talking over each other, but that was kind of funny.
Didn't help there's a third person on the call. Normally it's shit enough for 2 people, but...
Yeah, exactly. It's always tricky when the more it multiplies, but it was fun. It was fun to chat to you boys. It was fun to be on the show.
Sorry.
And I think it's nice to know that you have something separate. And I think it's nice to know that Aiden has that as well. It was cool to see you guys, growing as like podcasters yourselves. I think it was interesting to see what the show is and how you guys run it. I like the way you run it. Yeah, it is a good show. I don't know if I might have some tips, not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I would probably have some, not saying you're asking. If you don't want to know, that's fine. I'm not trying to intrude. Yeah. Yeah. Connor's like, I didn't fucking ask, did I? But basically I would have some tips, not even just for the show in general, even though I might have some tips for that, but also like for the technical side of it that I could give to
Series 1,
Aiden.
can I add?
Exactly. And you know what? We've been there. We've done seasons of the show. We've grown every single season. I think that's more what I'm excited to see from your show with Aiden is like how you guys grow, how you guys develop, how you guys get better. Because you will get used to it more. You will get better at it. And you will learn. You will learn how to make it a better show.
So I'm trying to do an out of context for a laugh.
You twat.
which is the Twitter page when it starts soon. But yeah, it's a good show. I really like it. Just to watch Doctor Who again is great. I watched the series one final yesterday, and that's brilliant. Like the whole Big Brother weakest link thing, and
oh yeah, that's a funny episode.
yeah, it's so funny. Like, and it's great, and it's really emotional as well. And I think it was a great episode for Eccleston's last episode, which sucks. Again, I love his Doctor. I think he should have done more. It's so sad that he didn't get to do more. There's all that drama behind the BBC, which never really got explained. It never really did. Like the whole drama.
It never
thing.
will. Maybe it never will.
There's hints that he's in the Time Lord Victorious audio series. There's hints. I don't know. He said at a con last year that he'd be up for doing a big finish. So if that means, I mean, it was a long time ago they had those arguments. So but yeah, it's 50% Doctor Who podcast. It's on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. You can check it out wherever you like. If you're a Doctor Who fan, we've had quite a few fans of the show, which is nice. I've had a Twitter Doctor Who page here. So
that is good. I will say, cool. You know, one thing that I know
as well.
We've had a little bit of trouble with this show is, although I do think now we've really started to figure it out, but I think we did have a bit of trouble finding a niche a little bit,
right?
But also finding like or understanding what audience we have and what audience we're trying to target. And I think now we understand that a bit better, and we're actually a lot better now at knowing what we're going for and who we're going for. But certainly for a while that was a bit of a challenge.
It's easier to talk about a TV show that's established, and it's like, well, absolutely. I like Doctor Who. I don't necessarily have to like them as people.
Well, but also to pursue fans. I mean, people who are fans of Doctor Who could potentially be fans of the show. Whereas our show, we're trying to
actually like them. You know,
yes,
I have to actually like you and your dynamic.
Our show,
so
like,
easy to talk about.
People have to like us and like what we have to say. So it's a bit.
Which is why my last channel with Aiden was successful. We had like 100,000 views on that shit because it was successful.
Nerd Life,
yeah. And it grew really quickly. And the reason why is because they didn't really like us. They just liked the fact we were talking about Doctor Who.
They liked the topics, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's easy just to talk about that when it's like with this, they have to like you and me. They have to like our dynamic. They have to like the people we are, like
our show,
our personalities, the show, the stuff we talk about, how we deal with it, the buttons.
This is how I win.
You know?
That's right.
Before I laugh out of context. By the way, the reason I keep saying that is because I should probably start up tomorrow. I want to start a Twitter page where maybe once or twice a day, because that's how easy it would be.
It is, yeah.
I'm going to post
you could literally just pick a random episode,
literally
go to a random spot and find,
I could post maybe twice a day.
And it could even be something as dumb as like, you know, you could just find like a photo of back in the day when I dressed as Woody. You could just find a random photo of me being Woody. You know what I mean? And like, that could be it. Or like the one where I wore the cat mask, or like, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's stuff like that, you know, and I could post 2 times a day, with no caption. There's no caption. I could even do it like even, dare I say it, 3 times a day. Like just literally I go on the thing, I click the picture, I post it. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound like me, but I reckon it's very easy. So, you know, we're going to start a fall off out of context. And I said to Dan, the reason why I'm doing it is to get, there you go. He's doing it. He's doing the fall off context. See? Look, that's how good we're getting with it. This could be a fall off context. Like, you know, like it's like that. And like the reason we're doing it is, I said, damn, what if we just started a fall off context? No one's asking for it, but that's the meme.
That's
People
exactly.
will see it and go, what the hell is fall
this?
off? And then they'll check it out. It's the perfect marketing.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know what? It's Twitter marketing. It's modern day marketing.
Yeah.
You know, we got to jump on the fucking Twitter bandwagons. One thing, can I just say, this is something I've been thinking of the last few weeks, and I've been thinking of this today. Have you noticed, or have you started to learn, this is something I've learned about myself that I've learned from podcasting. Maybe I don't do this in conversation.
Oh, I love this.
One thing I do on the show, and one thing I've really noticed I do on the show, I have tried very hard. I like cut out almost every and and that kind of stuff. My talking.
Listen to me right then.
Yeah. No, my talking is so much more streamlined because in my head, I'm thinking I need to make my point clear and I need to get across what I'm trying to say succinctly and shortly. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to be going, I think this and
Well, do we do that, do you reckon?
No, but what I'm saying is I've become much more conscious of eliminating that in the way I speak. So I'm just wondering if you've had that same thing.
I don't know if I mean, obviously when the minute the show starts, I'm in like
show mode. And that's what I think. I think it's a byproduct.
We got to be in the mode and stuff. I mean, I thought you were going to say, do you treat normal conversations outside the podcast like a podcast? And just the idea of having to keep the conversation flowing if you're talking to someone important. And I kind of feel like that. If I'm in like the situation socially, I'm like, I need to keep the show flowing. But no, but yeah, what you said, I like to think, literally me saying then, I like to think, now you said it, I'm trying to remember every time I've said But yeah. I'd say so.
I think it's I mean, look, like I said, I do it quite consciously. I think I need to make sure what I'm saying is clear, but I do think it's a byproduct of being on a show and being live, especially being live, is that you think I need to make sure what I'm saying, I'm getting across what I mean, I'm getting across my point, because I don't want to waste time. I don't want to dilly-dally. At least that's just the way I look at it. Maybe that's part of my show anxiety. And we've talked about, kind of performance anxiety with your DJing. And I think it sort of scares you into doing a better performance. And I think that's a good thing. But what I'm saying is that that has translated for me into conversation. When I'm talking to people, I have found, and again, I'm not perfect. Of course, I will inevitably do the ums and ahs and whatever. But I have found that more often in conversation, I will get more to the point and say what I need to say without dilly-dallying. Because I know what I'm trying to say, and I'm like, I want to get this across, and this is the point I'm trying to make. This is how I'm going to make that point.
Yeah.
Look at us. What are we, podcasters?
After 2 years, yeah.
I know. Well, we're not at episode 100 yet, so we can't call ourselves.
True.
We're going to have to roast in the last set about that. We'll be like, not till you get to 100.
Well, we're not even there yet, but
I know. Well, we'll get to that later.
We're getting tattoos at 100, so.
We are.
That scares me.
So one thing I wanted to bring up. So I don't mean to break.
No, you're right. We're
getting
an
into
hour
it.
in anyway. Jesus,
I wanted to. So next week I'm going to be having a different week next week.
Yep.
Different than I've ever had.
Yep.
Kind of. I'm getting a new job, or I've got a new job. I have the new job. I've been hired. Next week I start. On Monday I start. I'm doing my training Monday to Friday. And then following that, I will have, I'll be started the job. And basically I'm a little bit scared, I'm very excited. It's a very exciting thing. It's a good new step, I think, but it is a bit scary. Inevitably it's going to be a little bit scary because you're starting this new thing, this new job. For me, it's a job that I have already done and I'm very comfortable with doing it, but it's still something that makes you go, okay, how can I make sure that I'm doing a good job? How can I impress? You always want to impress your new employers. That's always a scary thing. Whoever it is employing you, if you're new to that job, you want to show them you can do a good job. Even if they know you can do the job, it's all a bit of a nerve-wracking experience. But one of the biggest things about the new job, the reason I wanted to bring it up on the show is because, and I think I mentioned this before, it's going to be a much better schedule. It's going to mean that I can focus a lot more on making videos, focus a lot more on the podcast, but also in my personal life, focus more on exercise and cooking healthy things because that's what I need to work on.
Yeah.
But, I think it really will be a good thing because my job that I had, and you might be able to talk to some of the annoyance of this, some days I'd be finishing at 6 or 6:30 and that's just not convenient when you want to be social, like when you want to, but for me as well, like when I want to see friends, when I want to hang with Kath, I don't want to be finishing work at 6 or 6:30. That's just a bit annoying. It's a bit of an inconvenient time. Whereas my new job, my latest finish is at 4:15 and some days I finish at 2:00 and that's awesome. Like that's so much more appreciated from my end because it means that I have time in the afternoon. It means I have time to chill out, relax, but also like when you get back from work at 6:00, all you want to do is relax. But if I get back from work at 2:00, I am okay with saying, well, until 4:00, I'm going to do video stuff, or I'm going to work on the podcast, or I'm going to do clips, or whatever it is, So it's like, I think that will really benefit both me creatively, productively, but also I think the podcast and the show, and also like, to be honest, our friendship and our dynamics. So.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, hopefully.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Again, that's all you can do, And I think it's good that you're making some positive changes and stuff. And,
well, one thing, you mentioned, sorry, this is also another reason I wanted to bring up. You mentioned last week. So because next week I finished my new job, it means this last week that we've just had was my last week at my previous job. Mm-hmm. And, there were a few goodbyes. I'll be honest. There were a few goodbyes that I had to say to some of my coworkers and some of the people that I work with. And, you know, what did you say last week? You said something like,
no, we were driving Mart River and I said to you, I hope you didn't take this offensively. Now, when I literally thought back on this conversation, I was like, shit, he probably did.
I brought it up in therapy, but.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's true. I'm glad I said it.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't the right time, but I said, you're like, oh, I'm not feeling too sad about leaving my job. And I said, well, to be honest, Dan, you're not very emotional. Like you don't really talk about that kind of thing.
I believe the words you said you're not very sentimental.
Yeah, you're not very sentimental. You're not very nostalgic. You're not really.
Oh, sorry, nostalgic. Actually, yes.
You don't really get sad about that kind of thing. I mean, and then Big Man said, it's like I've only seen him cry once, and I've known you for 7 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
And
very rarely.
Mitch was in the car, and I'm like, Mitch is the most manly man. You know, before he would never cry. I've seen Mitch cry as much as I have. And it's like, I don't think that's very healthy, personally. I think you are holding back a little bit with me. And, that's okay. We'll get there one day. But, but that's also who you are. So I said to him, because he was like, I'm not feeling that sad about, obviously you expressed emotions this week to your clients, which is good. That's what I wanted to hear. But I was like, the fact that you were moving on, I knew it wouldn't affect you that much because, you don't really get affected by that kind of thing. I know when I left school, I was very upset and you were like, what are you going to do?
I was Tony.
And I've known him in the past when I've gone through stuff. You're like, I remember I told you I split up with my girlfriend. You're like, it sucks. And I was like, oh, well, okay. I was like, okay, it's more than sucks. I was in the most darkest place, but it was like, yeah, that sucks. I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, when I said that in the car, I just felt like, because you don't express those emotions that much. And that's, maybe you're not holding back per se. Maybe it's just not how you're wired. And I don't know how you have to respond to that, but.
Well, I would say, the way that I've understood it from myself is that I think that it's very much for me personally, I was telling Kat today, I think it's a protective thing. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to put myself on the line as much as I could because I don't want to
get hurt. Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to get hurt. And I've had experiences where I've gotten very close to people and I've gotten very vulnerable and then it goes away and then it doesn't matter. And then it's kind of like, that feels almost pointless. It feels like almost you've wasted that time.
But you need to know that I'm not going anywhere.
Like and I know that. And I know that.
To be able to, whether it's me or Mitch or Catherine, you think, oh, my dad's calling me.
And I do.
God's sake.
And I do want you to know.
I won't answer it.
I do want you to know that I don't hold back from you. Like it's not.
No, yeah.
It's certainly in the last year at least.
Maybe you just don't cry that much. I mean, I cry all the time.
Can I tell you this story though? This is actually what I wanted to tell you. This is why I brought it up.
Yeah, go on.
On Friday.
Yesterday.
Yeah. Which was what was the date yesterday?
July 31st, Kid Cool Day.
When I left my shift Friday afternoon at 5:00, I was driving home. It was late afternoon. The sun was setting. It was really scenic. It was beautiful. And I was driving home and I put my AirPods in and I put on Soapbox by Kid Quill.
No way.
And I had myself a little cry in the car home.
It is July 31st.
I did. Well, the reason I cried.
We'll have to send him this.
Sorry?
We'll have to send him this.
Kid Quill.
We'll tweet
no,
him,
well,
yeah.
what made me cry about it was obviously it was my last. And I said to Kat this morning, I still haven't fully processed that I've stopped working the job that I'm working at. But what it crystallized for me was that it was, in a way, the end of an era. I'm leaving my job. But what I love about that song is it's a way to like immortalize just sort of almost a random moment in time that is special because you made it special. And it's special because for whatever reason, that's the day that you're choosing to remember. And what I love about that song too is it's so much about we're here and we have so much to go. Mm-hmm. There is so much ahead of us, so much to achieve and so much in the future that we have and so much potential. And it just overwhelmed me. And I felt that. I felt that doing this was the right thing to do. I felt it was the necessary thing to do, but it is bittersweet. But you know what? I have a lot coming and I have a lot to go, and I'm really excited for the future. You know, I really am.
Man.
And
wow.
And I will also say, I said before about not being sentimental and emotional as partly as a protective mechanism, and that also comes from the reason that I'm very, you know, part of the reason I chose to get this new job and leave my current job. I didn't need to. You know, my job is fine enough. I get very worried that things will change around me. And that will hurt me. And so I choose
without you changing per se.
So I choose to change to get ahead of that so that I'm the one who chose to change rather than my surroundings changing for me and me being taken off guard and taken by surprise, you know? So I think that's just me diagnosing it. Like I said, I did mention to my therapist and we talked about it.
Is there any better song to go out to than Soapbox?
It was beautiful. It really was beautiful. It was a beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very glad I listened to it. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to bring up.
That was, it sounds so cheesy, but that was really emotional. That really was nice. That was really nice. And it's a live show. You can't really grab the words, but that was really sweet.
I knew I wanted to bring it up for a reason. And,
that was, I don't have the words, but that was really good.
And actually, when I was going to bed, and I didn't tell this to Kath. I think Kath probably sees it the same way you do, where I can be a bit emotionally distant. I know she's probably seen that as well. Before we went to bed last night, it was 11 o'clock, and I said to Kath, we were lying in bed. I said, "Can I play you this song before you go to bed?"
Not Soapbox.
And I played Soapbox one more time. So I played it twice in one day.
You have to on July 31st.
I didn't overplay it. I only played it twice, but the second time it was with
the first time. You got to play. That is classic Dan, by the way. You didn't get all the references the first time. Let me play. Did you hear when you said 4 times it's July 31st?
You twat.
No, it's a beautiful song. I mean, you can thank me for that, by the way.
Yeah, no, it is a beautiful song.
I got you into the old,
but yeah, no, so I played it to her.
Phil.
I played it to her before we went to bed last night, and she said it was beautiful, and it was lovely. It really was. But yeah, there you go. I've been emotional. I've shed my emotions. Also, actually, can I? This is something a bit separate before we get into the last set. So we both see
the last. No, I'm joking. That was a terrible joke. Sorry, can't.
We both see therapists. That's no secret. And I wanted to ask you this. This is just a short little. Maybe this will be a clip. My therapist made a mention when I last saw her, which was a few days ago.
Yeah.
So I said something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what I said, but I said something. Maybe I was talking about my mom or something. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know what they would think you would say to a therapist or something. Because we were talking about something a bit goofy. I don't know what it was. I can't remember the exact context, but basically my therapist responded by saying, oh, well, I mean, that's whatever. I bring up all sorts of things to my therapist. My therapist said that.
So she has a therapist.
So she sees a therapist herself. So
well, many too, apparently.
Many do. So I was going to say, does yours, A, and B, do you think yours does or do you think she doesn't? And then also, like, do you think they should?
I don't know. I mean,
is that a weak sign for a therapist or what? Like,
no, I don't think it's weak. I don't think therapy's weak.
I don't think so either. I just want to hear your thoughts.
It's almost like that that meme with the astronaut with the gun to the gun. Like, of course your therapist sees a therapist. I went to therapy yesterday.
It's like you see a therapist?
Yeah.
Always have.
Yeah. Always have. It always has been.
My therapist sees a therapist?
I went yesterday, and it was like, we'll get in tomorrow if we have time. Do we have time? I don't think we're going to run out of
Well, we'll move
SD.
on. We'll try and move on a bit.
Yeah, I went yesterday and it was good, but yeah, I don't.
Have you ever asked your therapist if she sees a therapist?
No, I always feel weird bringing up all the alcohol and stuff, and stuff, because I'm like, I know she doesn't drink, so it's a bit difficult to be like, me and the boys had 14 pints one night, and it was pretty lit. It's pretty hard to be like, well, this is what it felt like, so, but, I don't know. I've been to mine for over 2 years now, so we're fairly close. And
you should ask her just out of curiosity. Just be like, do you mind
rude,
if I ask? It is a bit rude. I was surprised mine brought it up.
Rude.
I mean, I'm glad she brought it up because it means she's obviously open about it. And I always talk to her about it. Like, I'm like, well, that's why I come to see you. Like, I'm always like,
yeah, I'm very open about therapy more than other people can be. And I feel like we are, though, because again, one of the things I'm proudest of the show is that we do talk about mental health. We are very open about going to therapy.
Very much.
we say it's a fine thing to do, and it is, because it is very fine to go to therapy, especially as a man or a woman. I don't care. Human being, go to therapy. It's perfect. It's really good for you. Yeah, if she does, then I have no issues with that at all. It's some people probably be like, my therapist goes to therapy. What is she, unhinged?
No, I think it's a good thing.
Like,
I think it's a good thing. I think you want your therapist to be taking care of themselves.
Imagine being them and having to hear. I mean, you think we're bad. Imagine what some people have to say.
Let me put it this way: could you imagine a personal trainer who doesn't go to the gym?
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
this man just solved mental health.
I've just solved therapy.
This man just solved mental health.
No, but seriously,
are we strapped for time? What time do we have to finish?
We can go for another 30 minutes.
Okay, we're okay then. Sorry, everyone. I was just worried about
but
the
just
SD
as a
card
last
for
thing,
that.
Tony Soprano's therapist sees a therapist in the television show The Sopranos. That's right.
No.
Yeah. So Dr. Jennifer Melfi sees her own therapist. I can't remember his name. But it's a very common thing I've heard. I just wanted to bring that up just because I was curious.
When we get to the Mark River point, I'll talk about my therapy yesterday because I spoke about Mark River.
Well, what we have to talk about next, sorry, I had the topics up, was the last set.
Yeah.
Jack and
Joe.
Jack and Joe.
I got shit for Wait, shit.
Jack and Joe rolled up on the show.
Now, if I got this, it is Joe, because if I got this wrong
if I got that wrong,
I actually listened to the episode that they did talking about.
Oh no, did we get their name wrong in the first one?
There was a bit of a meme because it's Joe. Yeah, I knew it. I didn't have to check that. I didn't have to check it, but it made me laugh because Joe on the show was like, it's Dan and what's his name? Because in the one that I did, I was like, it's Jack and what's his name?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Joe.
Sorry, Joe. We love you, Joe. It's only because we went to school with Jack. So
that is true. That is true. And I did mess up.
But you know what, Joe? We'd love to have you on the show as well.
They're coming on. They're coming on.
I know they are coming
next
on
week if all goes to plan.
That's what we need to.
I hate to say people are coming on. They never do, but we'll plan.
No, we can announce that. We can announce that. So that's what. Obviously, we wanted to bring this up. We wanted to announce that. Jack and Joe from the Last Set podcast. You should check them out. They're coming on our show, the 4 Life podcast, no, I don't think it's next Friday. I think it's the Friday after.
Yeah, I think it's the 14th.
If we're lucky. So if they can grace us, then we're very keen to have them on.
Yeah,
it's going to be a really good time, and they're going to come on. They're a good bunch of fellas.
They made a podcast and they spoke about us, which was really nice. It was so weird. I was at work and I'm listening to a podcast I listened to quite a bit.
Yeah, I was going to listen to it, but I was at work. So what did they say?
It was so strange to listen to a show that I watched and they were talking about us. And
wow.
I was doing demo at work and I did the classic hood up, AirPod in so no one can see it.
Right.
By the way, I work productively to music and podcast, but some people don't see it that way. They're like, you slacker with your AirPod in. I don't say pods because I only have one in, but it was really good. So I asked, they commented on our set, which I thought was really nice.
What do you mean? Oh, this set. Oh, yeah. No, we put a lot into this set.
The last set complimented our set.
I know. Look at us.
No, they were very nice about it. I'm very excited to have them on.
It'll be fun. It
made me laugh. Jack was like, they have beers every podcast, these guys. And I'm like, cheers.
Well, are they big on, I mean, they're MMA guys, so I'd assume they're at least a little bit into fitness and stuff.
Well, Joe said,
maybe we should get them. Maybe we should whip out the leftover Carlton Zeros.
That's the thing. I feel like, especially Joe apparently doesn't drink much.
Oh, okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah. So, it's going to be interesting.
We'll get him like some Iron Jacks or some light beer.
That's the thing. Are we going to sink beers in the show? I don't want to.
Oh, we don't want to assume.
Push them,
we won't assume anything. No, well, I actually think
I probably will, but
obviously we haven't had that many guests, but I do think as a rule, we should always offer our guests whatever they want. But remember when Aiden came on and he was having water and we have water.
Aiden came on at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, true. We wouldn't be drinking.
If Aiden was on at night, I don't care what that boy says. I'm sinking a beer.
But that's right. I mean, my point is,
show will never be sober.
No. I don't think it could be.
And but these boys, we'll
accommodate them. We'll accommodate them. Maybe they'll want to have a protein shake or something.
Joe made me laugh. He was like, I had about 3 beers and I'm yawning. And I was like, well,
I think I had about 3 before we fucking started rolling the camera.
Me too. Literally,
I had 2 pints at the pub and I had maybe 1 or 2 beers before we started recording. So
But no, it'll be really nice to have those boys on. They've been nothing but nice about the show, and I am truly a big fan of their show. So
good.
I really appreciate
haven't watched
them
it
saying
yet,
nice
so I'm
stuff.
gonna have to. That's my admittance. I'll admit to not having watched the show yet.
I take research. And
No, I do actually want to watch the show. I love to see. I love to see locals creating more. I love to see WA. You know, I know it sounds cliche, but WA made podcasts. I think that's amazing, and I want to support them the best we can.
We got to, and then they'll have us on their show. I think we might even have to film it here, apparently. But
what, their show filmed here?
Yeah,
that's okay. That's fine.
So.
No, well, one thing I would love to do. I don't know how. I don't know if I could ever like rent any of this stuff out. And obviously, I'm not saying I would charge them, but like, just in terms of, because what we have here is an amazing setup. Like, I think we take it for granted very often.
I wouldn't mind filming.
And I think we take it for granted because we've had it for like.
I wouldn't mind
20
even
plus
if you can get rid of this, because that's the For a Laugh background. If you can get rid of this, I would easily rent this out for like the other show I want to do, like you, where we talk to guests individually.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I would do that.
But what I was meaning was like even rent out, like let them take this to their set or whatever. But I mean, even you're right though. The last set. But letting people rent out this, like just like clip a green screen onto there and someone, it's all pretty. Because I mean, I really do think we take for granted what we have here with this set. We are very lucky.
They were very nice about
to have all the
last set was so nice about.
No, I'm really keen to have them.
I'm sorry, I keep making jokes out there.
Their last, it'll be their last podcast.
Yeah, the last set of the podcast set.
No, I think it's great. I'm really keen to have them on, and I think
very keen. Yeah, it'd be great. I'm actually very excited
because I'm keen to. I don't know. Again,
interview podcasters for.
Again, I hate to admit it, but I don't know that much about what Jack's been up to. I don't even. Yeah. I know nothing about Joe. So.
I haven't seen him for like a year.
Yeah.
So he mentioned that as well. How I said I saw him at the pub and stuff. And
well, there you go.
It'd be very nice to have them on. We're very excited.
Yeah. It'd be great.
Have them on. We're going to interview them, and I'm very interested to ask them questions and stuff. And I'm sure they have a few questions for us. And,
no, it'd be lovely. And like we said, if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, then go check them out.
Yeah, check them out. Great. Yeah.
And they've actually, we need to get on their game.
They've
been good on social media. So
my client yesterday was banging on to me about that. She was like, where's your social media game at? I'm like,
where's your Twitter? Where's your Facebook? They're good on the Twitter and the Facebook.
You can run the Facebook and Instagram. I run the Twitter.
Yeah, okay.
The
Instagram. That's why we need to start taking photos before the show. Because we need to get the Instagram going.
Yes.
No, we need to get the show really popping.
I don't like Instagram or Facebook, so I feel like you're.
I like Instagram, but I don't like Facebook. But I can figure them out.
Should we even bother with Facebook?
Man, I fucking hate Facebook.
Well, yes,
so
actually,
much.
no. Yeah, I hate Facebook. Maybe you can run Instagram. I can run Twitter. We'll think about doing a Facebook page.
We'll fucking swap Facebook.
I don't know if we should even do a Facebook page. I kind of hate it, but I hate Facebook. If you can run Instagram or on Twitter, like
then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, we are excited. So keep tuned for that. A couple of weeks from now, we'll have another guest on.
Yep, cool.
But speaking of having guests on, we did have a guest on last week.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying
to get through the topics. Here. But we had a guest on last week, and this was Mitchell. We had previous guest on the show. He's been now 3-time guest, and we love having him on.
He's a record holder, is it?
Yeah, he is a record holder so far. We're gonna have to get Aiden on to bump up those numbers. I
don't know about that. I'm joking. Jeez,
I disagree.
It'll be fun.
I'm only joking.
It will be lots of fun, and basically, like I said, we had Mitch on because we went to Margaret River together. The 3 boys, we all went to Margaret River.
Yep.
You wanted to bring this up, so I'll let you sort of introduce this topic.
Yeah. So, okay. So, I was just checking the notes. Yeah. So we had him on. Mitchell, a good friend of the show. He's been my best mate for over a decade now, maybe like 15 years. We know each other. So to have him on the show is glorious. We had the first one was the 12 Pints of Christmas episode, which I think was really good. We actually spoke a lot about men's mental health, which was great. Second one again,
and we did get on the beers.
We did get on the beers, and the second one we got on the beers a bit too much because I don't remember filming it.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, I remember sitting down to film. I don't remember what we said, so excuse me. Not great, but gotta be honest, I don't remember.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
But no, so it was a good trip. I want to start off by saying the story about this jumper which I'm wearing right now, which is why I wore it on the show. Dan's wearing his. This is the Margaret River Brew House. He's wearing his shirt from there, and I'm wearing my jumper. underneath this, I'm actually wearing the Cheeky Monkey
Oh yeah.
shirt, which I got at the Margaret River Brewery as well.
I have ordered a jumper from the Cheeky Monkey.
Oh, did you do then?
Yeah, well, I haven't ordered it yet, but I'm going to order
Get
it.
on the beers one.
Yeah, no, the
beers.
cheeky beers. Yeah.
But this is the brew house, and I'll show you without showing my ass. Am I showing it well?
Stand up all the way. Just stand up straight, like legs straight.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do it out of the face, Ruth. How do I know that? Did you get it though?
Yeah, I did.
Alright. I have to tweet.
A dick by mistake.
I have to tag Adam in that. I couldn't find the screenshot, but
Anyway, so you wanted to say?
yeah. So the jumper, I said to the boys, I'm very keen on this jumper. We went to the brew house quite a bit. I was like, I'm keen on the jumper, but I thought I'll leave it to the last couple of days, or like at least day before I buy it. Cause I'm like, because of funds and stuff. I was like, I'll see how I'm doing money wise, and I was doing pretty good.
Yeah,
because
sorry, I know what story you're going into, but I just want to preface this with
Yeah.
while we were there, there are so many pubs and wineries in my
Yes, yeah.
and I'm really surprised we went to so many because
Yeah, we did.
I know going down there, I was a bit like, we'll be drinking a lot. Will we be able to drive to a lot of them? Will we be able to even go to that many pubs? And in the end, we really did end up going to a lot more pubs and stuff than I thought we would, and I was really, really happy with that. But yeah, so. Because we went to so many, there were so many shirts that I wanted to get.
Yeah, they all had like merch.
Yeah, we went to them so much, and I was like, these places are so nice. I would love to. And obviously, I did end up getting a shirt, and I'm going to get a jumper as well.
The brew house, though, was really cool.
But you had the same experience. You wanted to get some stuff, but yeah, carry on your story.
Yeah, the brew house is like, had a really cool, I'm a sucker for a jumper. I love a good jumper.
He does.
And I was like, okay. But I left it again. So it's like, funds. It was $55. I was like, shit, that's a couple of rounds. So I was like, I'll leave it to the last day to see how I'm doing fun wise. Like, hey, I'm doing pretty good. So I was like, okay, on the way back from a couple of wineries on the last day, we were like, okay, stop off, we'll get the jumper. Walked in and grabbed the jumper.
Also when I wanted to buy my shirt.
Oh yeah, so Dan wanted to get the shirt as well, which is what he's wearing right now. And it was like, okay, we'll go get them. Went up to the bar to get served, just standing there. Bloke comes up to me, he's like, obviously very drunk, and later we found out high on crystal meth. Which is terrible drug, by the way, and I'm not trying to say as a joke. We later found out was high on crystal meth, which explains quite a lot.
Meth doesn't benefit anyone.
Anything. So
except us when we're wanting to buy. Well, no one.
No, and you can tell this was an issue because he came up to me and he said, "All right, mate. What are you drinking?" And I said, nah, we just stopped off to get just to get the jumper. I was holding it. I just stopped to get the jumper. We're just going to go. He's like, nah, what are you drinking? I'm like, nah, we're cool. And,
bro, you should have let us get around.
Probably first time I turned down a pint.
Yeah, I was going to say, what
but
is this my real friend? I was trying
to get rid of him. He was very strange. He was a bit weird. He was obviously high and on drugs and drunk and, I was like, nah, you're all right. I don't need anything. He was like, nah, it's all good. I'll get you a drink. I'm like, nah, mate, it's fine. Honestly, I'm just here to buy this jumper. He's like, well, I'll get that jumper for you. And I was like, mate, it's $55. No, it's fine. I can pay for it. It's good. And he's like, no, I'll buy it. And at this point, I'm at the front of the counter. There's people behind me waiting to get drinks and stuff. And I'm like, it's fine. I'll buy it, get my phone out. And he's like, no. And he gives his card to the waitress who's about to serve me for buying my jumper. And she's like, listen, man, she's talking to him. She's like, listen, you just bought a round for 10 people. I'm not going to allow you to buy this jumper. And I said to her, I'm like, look, just to let you know, I'm not trying to make him buy this for me. I'm against this too. I will buy it. And he said, my card is in your hand. You scan that. It is my card. And I said, last time I'm telling you this, you don't need to do this. And he said, it's fine. And she's like, okay. I thought she just want to get rid of him. Scanned it, $55, free jumper, the one I'm wearing now, crazy. I turn around, Mitch was behind me, and I went, did you just see that? And he's like, what? I'm like, this guy just bought my jumper. And he's like, what? He goes up, and then he turns to Mitch and goes, I'll buy this guy's shirt. And he's like, all right. And then like Mitch doesn't really fight it. And as he's buying Mitchell's shirt, I went up to Dan and said, listen, I just got this jumper for free. And he's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, I just got it for free. And he's like, I'm like, look, I know it's in a bad way, but if you got right now, you will probably get it for free.
When Conor came up to me, I know that Conor and Mitch were at the front counter. And Conor came up to me and he said, he was like, he just bought my jumper for me. And I thought I thought Conor was talking about Mitch. I thought Conor was saying Mitch was feeling generous and bought the jumper. I was like, oh, well, that's nice. And then Conor said, no, Dan, I'm serious. Go up to the bar right now. He might buy your shirt for you. And I was like, okay. And I realized.
And you did. And what happened?
And I did. I walked up to the thing.
What did he say to you?
So Mitch had just had his thing bought and Mitch was like, thanks, man, and walked away. Or I kind of saw that. I wasn't there. And then I walked up, went to the bar. I looked at the lady behind the bar and I said, you know, I want to buy this shirt. And I looked at him and he looked at me and then he just put his card on the FPOS.
Unbelievable. He spent $125.
And I just kept looking at him and like, he just looked at me and he was like, I'm getting it. And I was like, okay. Like I was like,
he spent $125 on 3 random people that he never met.
And then it bought, and the lady behind the bar was just kind of like, oh, okay. You know, she put it through. He bought my jumper, walked off, gave him one of the, bought my shirt. I gave him one of these.
I did that.
And then walked off and I was like, brilliant. I
mean, yours was $35.
35,
40?
I think mine was, 30, maybe 40. I think mine was 40.
Mine was like $55. Which one I'm wearing
Crazy.
right now. We're both wearing them, coincidentally. But
yeah, I know. Look at me.
I don't know if I'm jumping ahead in the story, but we later on at the pub that night, the main one, saw him again, and he, for a solid 5 seconds, didn't recognize us. And we're like, you bought our jumpers and shirts. And he went,
yeah, legit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, you boys. And it was like, oh, shit. Like
5 hours later, he was still going. I don't know how he was still going.
Well, it's on
and
meth,
he was
that's
at
why. We later found out that multiple people were on crystal meth in the pub, which is a very scary thing.
And he must have been kicked out of the brew house. Or maybe the brew house closed, because the brew house, I think, closed at 9. Yeah. So he probably stayed there till it closed. Jeez. Left. My speculation is that this guy was he must be like the local billionaire, or not billionaire, but the local millionaire.
I think he was just on meth and he was just buying people around.
Yeah, but I mean, even a meth head, wouldn't his account run out? Like, wouldn't he be like,
well, yes, but actually, no.
You know, what I'm saying is he would have had to have some amount of money to be able to fucking shout rounds.
I mean, yeah, you know.
Well, maybe that's just what I tell myself so I can sleep at night. I'm like, oh, it's okay. He's a millionaire. He can afford it.
Have we got time to talk about the club and stuff?
Yeah, tell your club story.
Before that, maybe I'm going to toilet. Quickly tell the phone call about you had.
Well,
sorry, I got such a weak bladder.
Yeah, you do. It's true. Conor has a weak bladder. So I have a story about talking to the phone to Kath. It kind of has to tie into your club story. So basically, we were out. What was this night? Was this when we did the 12 pints? This was the night after. This was the night after. So this was Saturday night. Conor had gone and done some shenanigans that you will hear about in a minute with some local club-ish kind of thing. Basically, all you need to know is that there were a lot of young people in and around our hotel at Margaret River where we were staying. And they were all leaving some big party. And for some reason, even a few hours after the party finished, there were still some people leaving. But basically that particular night, there was a bit of a, let's just call it a dull moment where I could go off and talk to Kath for a reason that I won't get into.
Good way to put it, sorry.
It is a very politically correct way to put it. And I was able to go outside and talk to Kath on the phone. And I had my AirPods, so I put my AirPods in and I was speaking to Kath on the phone. This was like at 11 p.m. This was like, no, probably later, like 1 a.m. I was outside in the sort of car park driveway of our motel in Margaret River, speaking to Kath on the phone with my AirPods in, and I was drinking a beer, right? And so I was doing all this. And I was having a nice chat. It was nice to catch up with Kath because I was away with the boys. So it was nice to have a little bit of, you know, talk to a girl for a little bit. And as I was talking to Kath, a bunch of these people who are walking away from this club party were like walking in big groups. And I was there standing there with my AirPods in, drinking a beer. I looked like the massivest fucking nerd that they've ever seen. This guy just out there drinking. It looked like, what I can only imagine they were thinking is that I had tried to get into the club and been kicked out and then went out and listened to my AirPods.
Did get kicked out.
And I didn't get into the club, which Conor will get into. But basically, I was talking to Kath, and because I had my headphones in, to them, it probably looked like I was listening to music. But then I would say something to Kath, And this big group would be walking past and they'd look back thinking I was talking to them. And then I'd have to be like, oh, no, I wasn't talking to you. I'm on the phone to my girlfriend. It's not to you. It was very, very awkward. So basically I did have a nice chat to Kath, but I ended up alienating quite a few people. But at the end of the day, I started laughing.
Including me and Mitch.
At the end of the day, I started laughing because I was like, you know what? I think this is just funny because these people are walking past and they think a completely different situation to the actual situation that's going on. I was like, I don't really care if these people like me. Like, I don't have any skin in the game. If they don't like me, there's no skin off my back. I'm fucking only here for another 2 days.
Your nose.
So it was pretty fucking funny. Skin off my nose. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just a funny experience because there was this definitely a big misunderstanding. And there were definitely a few times where like a big group, it wasn't a big deal because they could all ignore me. But every now and then it was like one or two people would walk past and they would both look and they would stop thinking I'm talking to them. Woo.
Crying.
Excuse me. And it was very, very awkward. So that's just my little mini story.
Before I get into the main story, one final thing about the pub and the meth heads. As we were leaving on the final night, Classic Dan was talking to some French bird, and me and Mitch were leaving the pub, and a guy comes up to Mitch and he says, I just had to jump over that fence to get into this car. And he goes, oh, cool. And then he shoves Mitchell. He pushes him and I'm walking with him and my heart drops. I'm like, oh no, because these guys are all on meth.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Mitchell.
And they're quite big guys too.
Oh, you want to go? And Mitch is like, no, I'm good. And I'm like, Mitch, we're leaving right now. And your Classic Dan never listens to anyone, is still at the pub. So
I didn't even know they got in a fight.
Mitch goes into the pub to find you. And then I'm stuck on this other side. And they all hop in the car and start driving towards me. So I ran back to the hotel, shitting myself. I was like so scared. I was like, this guy's going to kill me. And I saw her, she was riding a bicycle and I was like, stop, please help me.
Take me with you.
And she stopped. I'm like, I just nearly got started on. She's like, all right, I'll walk you to the hotel. And she rode on her bike.
That is so cute.
I was like, so where'd you live? She's like, 20 minutes away. I'm like, a lady riding home at night. 20 minutes away. I'm like, aren't you scared? She's like, nah, not really.
I love that.
And she's like, to be fair, most of the people in this town are on meth.
Oh my God.
Any shiz. I'll tell the final story. How long we got to record?
No, because then then the story is when I finally did get out of the pub, I was walking past and the big guys that had started on Mitch, I didn't know.
Oh no. You got another story for this?
No, I think Mitch told you about this. I didn't know that they had started on Mitch. So as I was walking past, I was like, all right, mate, cheers, have a good one.
What did I say to you?
He was like, yeah, all good. Because I don't know. I guess I'm not the kind of face that people want to start a fight with. I think Mitch just has that face. Because there was another night where someone tried to start on Mitch.
Yeah. He's such a cocky twat. He's like, they pick on the biggest one in the group. I'm like, fuck off. Such a classic thing for him to say.
All right, tell your club story. We've only got 10 minutes. You have to tell it in like, let's say 6 minutes. So.
Jesus Christ. All right, so anyway, we got back to the room on the Saturday night and I heard a lot of bumping, like a lot of bass in the hotel, which is weird because it's like a hotel for like old people. I was like, what's going on? And apparently it was a party going on. I thought it was a party going on in a big like a hotel suite villa, but actually it turned out it was actually part of the hotel. They had like a function room and they were having like a DJ in there and all the young kids come down and party there and stuff because, you know, I mean, they do it like once a month because there's no clubs in Mount River and stuff. And I said to the boys, let's try and get in. Needless to say, they weren't very keen, which is weird because it normally sounds like the kind of thing they would be keen for, but needless to say, I got a lot of shit for this, but I was like, okay, I'm going to go off and I'm going to try and get in. I'm going to see what it's like. So I went off by my own. And at first, again, I still thought it was like a house party. And I went to the hotel where I thought I heard the music, like a hotel room where I thought I heard the music. And I knocked on the door and they answered. And I was like, is the party here? And they said, nah, it's next door in the function room. And I was like, function room? And they're like, yeah, it's like a big club event. I don't know what they were kind of trying to call it. But they're like, I had a good conversation with them. They're like, wait, you don't want to stay and hear our music? I'm like, good one, mate. And then we all like high-fived and like, I was like, all right, I'm going to go now. And as I was heading towards the main pub area, which entered into the hall where this massive club night was going on, I saw two people sitting down. I went up to them and I was like, by chance, are you guys going back in that club tonight? And they said, no, we're not. And I was like, all right, can I have your wristbands? And like, sure. They snapped theirs off. I had one in my pocket and I put one on my wrist. I put it on my left wrist. And I went to walk into the area. No one checked any wrist. or anything. So I was like, okay, cool. And I got in. I'm standing there in the
I feel like
middle of a mosh
if
pit. And
me
I'm
or
like,
Mitch had gone on our own, probably we could have done the same as you. Like,
well, here's the thing. They didn't check that time. They definitely did.
That just was probably a time where they were really busy and you just were able to sneak past.
I snuck in and you know, I was in the middle of a mosh pit. I'm like, it's sick. I'm like, the boys will
I'm
love
glad you
this.
did that, by the way. I'm glad you had that experience. I am personally glad you had that experience.
He wasn't.
I was. Are you talking about me?
You weren't. That's what annoyed,
I was
That's
glad.
what annoyed me because I literally said to you that night, I said, you've done this multiple times and I got so much shit that night for everything I did. And by the way,
I'm sorry. I never gave you shit. I was just being neutral.
I didn't read the room, but I was just being a young lad. Yes, I was off my chops, but I still did it. And I went back home. I was like, all right, I got 2 wristbands. Check my pocket. I have no wristbands. I got one on my arm, but we can get some. And I waited for 2 people to come out. I got the boys, went to the pub, and I was like, I'm waiting for 2 people to come out. I took their wristbands. I put them on the boys. We tried to walk in. They stopped you 2. I got in.
No, we tried to go in before we had stole the wristbands. And then they stopped us, saw we didn't have the wristbands and said, you can't come in. And then you got the wristbands and said, why don't we try go in now? We were like, well, they've already seen us without a wristband. So it'd be a bit, that's what happened. Yeah.
Right. And then anyway, as I was leaving, I got in and I was like, there's no point being here without the boys. And everyone was pissed off at me for just trying to have a good night.
Excuse me. I think, I'm not trying to throw it all on Mitch, but I was not pissed on you. Pissed off at you. That's all I'm saying.
And it did seem a bit scarce because yes, I was a bit off my chops, but I was just trying to have a good night with all the boys. And anyway, as I was leaving, I was like, "What I got to lose?" So I went up to the security and I was like, "All right, just so you know, I got in tonight and I didn't have a wristband." And they were like, at first they were trying to be smart, like, "Oh, we knew." And I was like, "How'd you know?" And they're like, "Oh, because you had the wristband on the wrong arm. I put it on my left hand." They're like, "Right now." I was like, "Yeah, but before I got in." And
also, she definitely did see you.
Yeah.
When I tried to get in, she saw you and let you in. Yeah. So they didn't know for you.
And I'm like, I literally said to them, like, guys, come on, you didn't know. Like, you didn't know. And I was like, they were just like, but they were constantly like chatting shit and stuff. And I was like, I walked in to your event and I made a big deal of it. And I agree, I was being a twat. But I was like, I walked into your event, security, I walked in and no one stopped me. And I made a big deal out of it. And I probably mentioned I was a DJ a few times. Yep. And again, there was a woman there and I feel like she was laughing. I was doing my like, classic routine. I feel like she was laughing with me, but she's also a bit like, what a twat. Like, and I admit it, I was being a bit of a twat. And anyway, needless to say, all I got was shit for it. So I was just trying to have a good night with the boys, but apparently I can't do that. So I was only trying to have a good night. And I spoke about this in therapy. I was like, I only went to for the boys to go for this thing. And it ended at 12. So it didn't go on to like, I thought it was going to go on to like 2 a.m. And by the time we got home from the pub, it was like 11. And by the time we all tried to get in, it was like closing anyway. I only did it to have a good time, but all I got was shit for it. So, I literally woke up in the morning. I'm like, well, I suck. So I went off for an hour by myself and pretty much cried into my AirPods because I was just like, well, I suck. Oh, camera's gone. It's probably a sign to wrap up the show. Oh, didn't it? I heard a camera go.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, probably a sign to wrap up the show. But yeah, that's my story. Anyway, regardless. I got in.
I know you probably don't want me to respond. I think it was a great story. I love that you had that experience. I'm sorry if you thought I was roasting you. I wasn't.
It's fine. No, the only problem I had was, and I know you're trying to stay neutral, and that's fine.
Again, I
got annoyed because I'm like, you would find this hilarious, and you would do the exact same thing, and it annoyed me that
I don't
you didn't
disagree.
say that, but it's fine. I understand why you didn't say that.
It's not. I never like disagreed with you actively. I just didn't agree with anyone. I was just trying to be neutral, and you understand. You get it. I also, by the way, just for a bit of context, I was also quite zoinked, and so was Mitch. And so, look, I'm really glad you had that experience. I don't know if I would have been able to even have that experience just because I was quite like out of it. But I
thought it was hilarious.
Maybe not. I do think it's hilarious.
I remember I woke up in the morning and I was like, dude, was that bad of me? And I was like, that was so funny.
No, I think I did. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I did tell you at one point that it was funny. Well, I didn't. I obviously didn't. But I'm telling you now, I do think it's hilarious. I think it's funny that you did it.
I thought it was. I remember I woke up in the morning. I'm like,
no, actually, I did. I did tell you the next day, or the next day at least. I said what you did was really funny. It wasn't about what you did. It was about the execution. Blah blah. Blah. We had that conversation.
Yeah, but I feel like if everyone was just chilled out, it would have been fine. I don't think anything different that night happened. Like, I know you guys have done stuff in the complete same state, and I've just rolled with it. No one was wrong with it, and it was like, fine. Like,
yeah, and look, and I do feel bad about that. I feel bad that there was obviously some hostility between. There was obviously some hostility in the air. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to get divisive with this. I will tell you now, and I don't know if it does make you feel better, but I hope it does. I do think what you did was funny, and I did think at the time that it was funny. I wasn't judging you. I never got
that vibe. That was just me.
Well,
was just
and
me.
I'm sorry, but I will say at the time, my vibe was just trying to get through.
Because you were pretty zoined.
Yes, I was trying to ride out the wave as much as I was feeling the wave. So that's what I was trying to focus on. But I really had no problem with what you were doing.
That's what upset me because, like I just said.
And I am glad you had a good time. Looking back on it, I'm glad you had a good time.
Again, what annoys me is like, you guys have done that a million times and I've never been as vocal.
I'm glad you did that. I am glad you did that.
You got very vocal and it was like, I always remember you that night when you snuck into the club in, over there. Remember you snuck in that club and I was like, nah, don't do that. I was annoyed that night, but I didn't make a huge deal out of it.
Of course. And
it was like, now I'm just trying to have a good night with you boys. And, I don't know. I just felt like all I got was shit for it. And it was like, it upset me, but either way. And again, I woke up in the morning feeling shit. So
I will tell you that looking back on it, and again, I'll tell you in the time I felt like it was okay, but I obviously didn't express that. So I'm sorry for that.
No,
but
right.
I'll tell you at the time now looking back, I think that is hilarious. I think that's a funny story. Again, I felt that way internally at the time. I obviously didn't express it externally, but I think that's a funny story and I'm glad you had that experience. I think that's a funny experience. I think that's a funny story for you to be able to tell. And, I hope you get to do that more. And I hope that if that does come up again, I'll be more clear on the side of, you know what, we're all fucked up. We're having a good time and that's what it's about. So
I have more to say about it, but I probably shouldn't say it on the show, but yeah.
But that's all I'll say about that.
I'm sure we'll talk tonight on the pub.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to sign me out with Dad's mates.
Oh, well, that's the last thing we wanted to talk about. Oh, actually, one more thing about Margaret River.
Go on.
We did see a lot of backpackers there because a lot of
Italians. Yes.
Yes. Well, Italians specifically, but there was a guy I saw some from the UK as well. There was
the snooker player. One of them hated me. He kept bumping into me. Did I tell you about that?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He was off with me. Hey, I was going to ding a ball and he moved it and he walked past me and hit me and like. I think I was talking to his
bit
bird.
of beef.
Ooh. They were single, by the way. If a girl's single, she likes who she's talking to.
One of the guys was married too.
God.
Anyway, so while we were talking, talking to them, obviously they weren't very happy with you, but I was able to talk to them enough to get information that they were from the UK. Some people were from Italy. I was speaking to quite a few backpackers and almost all the ones I said, or actually every single one I asked, that's yours. Everyone I asked basically said, that Australia is, or at least West Australia, Perth is the best place to be stuck. They're grateful they're stuck there. Obviously, if they had to be stuck anywhere, they'd be happy to be stuck here. And it's a tough situation, but back home is not much better than here. So that's just what I want to say as like a little add-on about coronavirus.
Yeah, mark the count. Let's go, baby.
To show how well we're dealing with it here. We're going to the pub after this. Do you want to give some?
Yes, we're going to see Dad with his mates. My mum and sister have been on a wine tour all day, so I guess all the boys' wives have gone away. So like, what do we do? Let's go to the pub. So it'd be good. I haven't seen Gavin, Neil, and Shawnee for a while. So all good friends with Dan as well. And Mitch, my best friend. So it'd be good to see them. Good to have a few frothies. But I also feel like we need to have a good time just to recap on the weekend without cameras, and we can talk about all the ins and outs, which will probably get us more demonetized from YouTube.
All the Sam Jones conversations,
off camera type shit. Yeah, it'd be nice to talk to you about that and get all that off my chest and stuff. Because But we're going to go join the boys now. I said we'll be there about 6 and we're probably not far off that. So
yeah, there you go. We'll be there soon. We'll be at the pub. We'll get on the beers. And it'll be a very, very wonderful.
Very excited to have a good pint of Swan.
Cheers to you, mate.
Yeah, cheers, mate. A good old VB
cheers
and whatever that is.
Cheers to a good Australian drop. It's Byron Bay.
Okay, nice. Cheers, boys.
It's Byron Bay.
And girls.
BBB.
I'm not saying girls so much.
Yeah, we have about an 80 to 20% male to female audience.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
You have a problem.
I'd be spamming the buttons at the end. All right, goodbye, Mom.
Thanks, guys. All the best. See you next time.
See you later. Thank you. All right, let's get it.